So let's talk weekend coding projects. I've been meaning to make something like this for quite some time. I love watching other people's videos on their weekend coding projects or just showing off like whatever they built. I'm still very much a novice programmer, but I gotta start at some point. So this weekend, I'm gonna be building a program that can backtest a certain stock trading strategy. So there's a kind of popular technical analysis strategy, which if you don't know what technical analysis is, I have my own opinions on it, but essentially what it is you're kind of like reading the charts, whereas fundamental analysis is you're kind of looking at company's financials, leadership. Technical analysis is kind of just focusing on the charts and looking for trends. I probably butchered the definitions of both, but to my understanding, that's what they are. So the strategy I'm going to be using for this program is going to be the red, white, and blue trading strategy. And what this does is you look at short-term and long-term moving averages. And based on looking at these short-term and long-term moving averages, you can kind of tell and predict whether the stock is in an upward trend or in a downward trend. Again, I have my own opinions about technical analysis, but it still should be something that isn't too difficult to translate into code. The language I'm using for this project is Python, which I don't really know anything about. My only experience is in Java and C++, but I know Python has a bunch of libraries that I can use to make this project way easier. So the criteria of what I want this program to do is, first, I want the user to be able to input the exact ticker and like a time frame of when they want to backtest this strategy for. And I also want the user to be able to input this not in just like a command line, but like a window, some type of GUI, which I know Python has a bunch of libraries to make that process a lot easier. And then once the users put in the parameters of the time frame and the ticker that they want to use, I want it to spit out a graph that shows the moving averages so the user can kind of see when these trades are executed. And when it comes to the actual backtesting part, I want the program to spit out information like how many profitable trades they had and what their total percent gains were for that time period. So I'm going to hop on my computer and write kind of like an outline of what I want this program to do, just so I have a good understanding and there's like so that I have some boxes to check off, and then we're going to get right into building it. Start. So I'm using PyCharm to make this, and this is going to be the main driver, and then I was also thinking on just creating like a stock object. Honestly, I don't even know how to make objects in Python. So yeah, I'm just going to fast forward the video and we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so now I kind of did like a rough sketch. I guess this keyword itself is like the same as this, like C++. So I'm going to go at it for probably like an hour. It's 1:16. I'm probably going to stop like 2:10 and then work out. I think by the end of this little 1 hour session, I want to at least get, maybe not the GUI part yet, but I want to get this graphing part done. So I'm going to use something called YFinance to import stock ticker information from Yahoo Finance, and then use things like PyPlot and Pandas to get this stuff onto a graph. See you at the end of the 1 hour block. Okay, so now here what I've gotten is I've stuck the ticker data from January 1st up until today, or I'm not sure what dt.date. I'm guessing it's going to be from yesterday. Okay, so pretty much I've stored all this ticker information inside of a Pandas data frame. This is how I'm going to accomplish figuring out the moving averages for this strategy. So if I can print df.tail. Okay, so it has the stock ticker data up until yesterday. Cool thing is I can just change, say if I want to do 3M, yep, okay. And I'm assuming this is accurate. Let me see. Okay, so now that I have all this stuff stored in a data frame, first thing I'm going to try and graph this information what I have now. And then I'm going to go create the moving averages, and then I'm going to graph them. So I will see you when I get that done. Okay, so it didn't take me long to figure out how to get this stuff graphed. So I can show you, oops, we'll do TSL, or we'll do Tesla. That's a much more entertaining chart to look at. So I click run and using, there we go. Yeah, so this is using PyPlot. And it's really simple to do. All you have to do is df.plot, which is our pandas data frame, and then plt.show to get the graph to pop up. So that was not too bad. And now I'm going to create all the moving averages. I'll probably do 10 of each, 10 short term, 10 long term. I'll consider short term anything like 15 days and below. and then long term, anything longer than 15 days. Instead of creating an array, it'd probably be better to just populate an array of numbers like 1 to 60, and I don't know, I'm not sure where exactly I'm going to take this, but I'll see when I get that done. Okay, so now I have created an array called EMA, and these are going to be the EMAs that I'm going to use, and then I pretty much populate it with from numbers 1 to 60. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this data frame information for each moving average, from starting from like a 1-day moving average to all the way up to 60 days. I'm going to graph those, and then that's information that the backtester is going to use. So I'm probably going to take a break once I figure out how to add to the data frame and I get all that graphed and change the colors of each of the lines, whether the lines should be red or blue. Okay, so honestly it took me a lot shorter than I thought. So I figured out how to A, color the lines, and B, do it based on like the value of the exponential moving average. So we have, if the EMA is less than or equal to 15, the color is going to be red, and that's going to be your red from the red, white, and blue. And then your long-term ones are going to be blue. So if I go ahead and graph it, it's taking a while. Okay, here we go. So you can see, I honestly think putting 60 different moving averages in here is probably not the best idea. Let me rerun this and go for just 30. Should be a lot easier on my computer. Okay, so that's somewhat better. Okay, that's better. So you can see here pretty much what this is saying right here is, we zoomed out, son of, okay. Okay, so what this is saying right here is pretty much that there's a lot of momentum behind the stock at a point like right here, simply because your short-term moving averages are higher than your long-term ones, so it's an upward trend. And so essentially what the back tester is going to do is that it's going to say, okay, if the lowest value of the short-term one is greater than the highest value of the long-term, that signals an upward trend, so we're going to buy into the stock. Okay, so you might notice a little change of scenery, and also that it's several weeks after the last clip. However, that's not important. Now we're going to add the functionality that actually does the math to see what our gains are. So I'm going to calculate the mins and maxes for each and then determine whether to buy in or sell. So let's go do that now. Okay, so now this for loop is going to pretty much run through every single day, and it's going to look at the lowest of the short-term moving averages and the highest of the long terms. If the lowest short-term moving average is still higher than the highest value of the long-term moving averages, which is you can see with these if statements right here, then it's going to buy in and it's going to print out red, white, and blue. And if it's not, then it's going to be blue, white, and red. So let's go run the program and see what happens. Oh, okay, there we go. So yeah, looks like it seems to be working. So now I'm gonna figure out how to do it. So we have like a position string. So actually I might just do like zeros and ones to make things easier. So now I'm actually gonna do the math with these values of each day. Okay, so here you can see I've pretty much figured out the math side of things for the most part. So if your lowest short-term moving average is higher, it'll check to see if you're not in a position currently, and if you're not, then you're going to buy in at the closing price, and then it's just going to print buying the ticker at that buying price. So you can see that here when I go to run the program. So here you go, you can see a graph of the exact like time period that we're running this back test on. If the program decides that it's time to sell, it appends the percent change of like what you sold and what you bought for. It appends it to an array, and then at the very end it just prints out all like your percent gains or percent losses. And so you can see here you've had some pretty good gains like 8% and also some pretty bad losses like going down 10%. So then pretty much what I'm going to do with this is then figure out your total percent gain or percent loss, and I also want to include how many successful trades you had and how many losing trades you had. I also included a base case where if you're at the very end of the data frame and you're still in a position, it's going to go ahead and sell you out of your position. So I'm going to go cut to once I figure that out.
A few moments later.
Okay, so now you can see that at the end of the program, it'll print out how many winning trades you had and how many losing trades you had. And also at the very end, it prints out your total return. So for this particular strategy from January 1st, 2018, all the way up to March 24th, 2021, this yielded a total return of 145%. So that's, let's see, I'll do 145 divided by, 3 years. So close to 50% a year. So 50% is pretty darn good. But again, this is kind of one of those like reading the chart strategies, which I don't really agree with. I'm more of a just look at the fundamentals type of person. Let's test it with another stock. We can do try AMD. Let's see how that goes. All right, so even better. So this one gave us a 186% return over 3 years, which would come out to about 62% a year. So not bad at all. I want to try one more just to see it. We're going to try it with Pfizer. Okay, so here you can see this strategy actually lost us money when done with Pfizer. So we had a total return of -4%. So this isn't like a secret strategy. This is kind of popular among people that do technical analysis. And even though I don't really believe in technical analysis, I chose it for this project just because I know you can easily translate it into code. And as I said earlier, I don't want to do a GUI anymore just because I thought that would be kind of a waste of time. But you can see here it spits out a cool graph that you can actually look at and see where these crossover points are. So going back to a stock that did give us a pretty high return, like AMD, you can see we did 28 trades in a matter of only 3 years, which that's a lot of buying and selling. So that's a lot of premiums you have to buy, a lot of fees you have to go through. And not only that, taxes are a big concern. So this is why I'm not really a big fan of these high frequency trades. I prefer just to buy and hold and keep them for the long run. But like I said, this isn't really a practical project. This is more just for fun. I really hope you enjoyed this video because I had a lot of fun making it. I definitely want to do more like finance programming type of videos. So if you liked it, make sure you smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all in the next one.